Hello, friend of fateful connection. Do you know that every night there always exists a very special moment when our body actually has the ability to heal all wounds itself? It is not when you are already fast asleep, but the brief moment right before sleep arrives, which is when your body is preparing to leave the survival state to enter the most profound recovery process. However, the painful truth is most of us unintentionally ruin this golden moment without even knowing your body is laid down. But your nervous system is still standing guard. We close our eyes, but inside are still as tense as a soldier who has not yet received orders to rest. Ancient monastics since long ago understood this secret. They did not heal the body with tired efforts or by the coercion of the will. What they did was simple but much deeper, which is, they knew how to fully protect this sacred transitional moment so the body could do its own great work tonight. I invite you to explore that secret with me so that you do not just sleep, but truly get healed right in the stillness of the night. Hello, friend of fateful connection. We often mistakenly think that just by closing our eyes and sinking into unconsciousness, the body will automatically be refreshed. But in reality, sleep and cell repair are two completely different states. You can sleep enough 8 hours every night, but wake up in the morning still feeling the body heavy and the spirit exhausted. That is because you are only sleeping without truly entering healing mode. The human body is extremely intelligent, and it always prioritizes survival first. As long as your nervous system is still in a state of alertness and still feels the signals of anxiety or pressure, then the recovery process will be delayed. Imagine the nervous system as like a strict gatekeeper. If that soldier still believes there is danger lurking out there, then he will never lower his weapon to allow the healing armies to go inside to repair your body house. When you bring the clutter of work and unfinished dialogues to bed, then your body will understand that the battle is not yet over. It will continue to maintain the amount of stress hormones in the blood, instead of secreting nutrients to regenerate cells. The result is you are sleeping in a survival state and not sleeping in a revival state. The biggest problem of ours is not that sleep time is too little, but that our body has never received a true permission to begin its healing work. Instead of complaining that I do not sleep enough, try being honest with yourself that all this time I have not allowed my body to rest completely. The change begins from the moment you realize that healing is a privilege that you need to actively initiate by sending a signal of absolute safety to yourself. Hello, friend of fateful connection. The secret of the monastics actually does not lie in mystical rituals or high-level techniques. Difficult to touch that secret is so simple, it is a bit surprising. It is precisely learning how to talk to the body with the language of biology, a language that does not need words or complex thinking. Masters from ancient times understood that you cannot command your body to get well, but you can completely create an environment for the body to do it itself. And the first step is sending a signal of absolute safety. We shall together perform the first minute of this journey right now, when you are lying very still in the stillness of the night. I invite you to direct your entire attention toward the breath. You should merely observe the breath as it is absolutely. Do not try to breathe very deeply or force yourself to breathe according to any perfect rhythm. If the current breath is short, then you just know it is short. If the breath is shallow, then just let it be shallow. Respect the natural rhythm of life flowing inside you. However, there is a small but extremely powerful detail that monastics always emphasized, which is the moment when the breath leaves the body. Try letting your exhale flow very slowly, very smoothly, and a bit longer than the inhale. Imagine you are gently loosening a tight rope so every pressure in the chest is slowly released out according to that breath. Inside our body, there is an invisible connection between the breath and the central nervous system. When you actively prolong the exhale, naturally, you are silently activating the vagus nerve. This is the universal switch to transition the body from defense state to recovery state. Through this tiny action, you are sending a message of peace to every cell. You are telling the brain that everything now is very stable. There is no danger lurking, and you can completely allow yourself to lower every protective layer. You need to understand deeply a truth that when the body receives the message that everything is safe, the healing process will automatically begin according to a most primitive instinct, without you having to effort or demand anything further. This is the first key for you to open the storehouse of recovery sleeping inside you, because healing is inherently a natural process. It only needs a climate of trust to sprout and flow to the places needing soothing most. Hello, friend. A fateful connection. We gently move to the second minute by expanding the light of awareness to the whole body lying still on the mattress. I invite you to scan your attention from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes, like a gentle wave covering all things. If you start to feel an ache or a certain area is tense, then please do not hurriedly struggle to find ways to fix or drive it away. Our habit is often focusing excessively on the faults and trying to use the will to adjust. But that very intervention makes the body even more contracted and tired. In this moment, just play the role of a most sincere and tolerant listener. Let the body be as it is without any judgment. When your brain stops trying to play the role of manager or an architect seeking ways to repair the body house, then that is when the ancient natural intelligence will automatically return. This is the moment of giving way, where you transition from the state of effort to the state of permission. You do not need to perform any healing action, because healing is inherently a self-flowing stream when it no longer meets the obstruction of the rational head. Just be silent and listen to the most subtle vibrations on your flesh, and you will see your body is starting to find its own most perfect balance point. Hello, friend of fateful connection. We enter the third minute, the most precious minute, and also the pinnacle of complete letting go, which is the state of total non-action. In this moment, I invite you to courageously give up even observing the breath or listening to the body. Let yourself dissolve into the vast stillness of the night without needing to perform any further action. The biggest mistake we often make is lying there to silently check if the body is lighter yet, or impatiently expecting sleepiness to arrive to confirm that we practice the technique correctly. But dear friend, that very craving and lurking for results is a form of subtle tension, and it is the biggest barrier separating you from the flow of true recovery. Always remember that the deepest healing can only happen when there is no longer any supervisor standing there to grade or monitor your progress. Tonight, you do not need to try to sleep well, and also do not need to force yourself to get well immediately. You only need to allow yourself to be present in the most empty way, like a cloud floating away without a destination. Because a sacred wisdom from ancient times always reminds us that true healing only begins at the exact moment when you completely stop monitoring yourself. Hello, friend of fateful connection. I know you have efforted a lot on the journey to find health and peace for yourself. Maybe you have tried many methods, from meditation to breathing exercises or healing music, but there is an extremely subtle paradox. that people with more practice experience are more likely to encounter, which is the fact that you are craving to be healed too much. In Buddhist teachings, every craving, even craving for the best thing, silently contains seeds of greed and attachment. When you lie down with a clear goal that tonight I must be recovered, or I must feel better tomorrow morning, then inadvertently, you are creating a new state of tension in the mind. You are turning your bed into a laboratory and turning yourself into a strictly monitored object. Try observing again to see if a part of you is still silently standing guard nearby, to ask questions whether the pain has eased yet, or whether the mind has actually become less agitated. That very lurking and constant monitoring makes your nervous system never truly feel safe to relax completely. You are standing supervising your body work, and that makes the cells unable to operate according to their inherent natural instincts. I want you to remember deeply a truth that absolute healing never takes place under the strict supervision of the will. We often mistakenly think that control will bring faster results, but in reality, recovery can only bloom in an atmosphere of freedom and complete letting go. If you try harder to be healed, then that very effort becomes a layer of fog covering the light of self-recovery. Learn to give up even your healing goal right at this moment, to return the body to the great intelligence of nature. When there is no longer anyone standing there to wait for a sign or demand a result, then that is when the miracle of true self-healing really begins to appear. Let everything happen without you having to be the witness or evaluator, because true stillness only comes when you stop trying to achieve it. Hello, friend of fateful connection. Let us reach the deepest secret and also the most important part of this entire journey, which is the complete letting go of everything belonging to the daytime, right before the threshold of darkness. There is a truth that for a long time we often unintentionally forget, which is your great body absolutely cannot begin the repair process if your mind is still holding on to unfinished things. You may have laid very still and performed muscle relaxation steps, but if deep in your heart you are still silently playing the role of a boss, worrying about a project, a parent wondering about children, or a child agonizing over old mistakes, then in fact you have not yet left the battlefield of the daytime. Your nervous system is still having to consume a huge source of energy to maintain those identities and those responsibilities. And when energy is still pouring into anxiety processing centers, then it is no longer strong enough to serve the work of cell regeneration. The monastics of ancient times understood a sacred wisdom that, to have the body healed, the soul must be completely empty of all social roles. Therefore, I invite you to perform an extremely powerful inner gesture that I call temporary renunciation. Before sinking deep into sleep, tell your entire psychophysiological system a confirmation that, in the coming hours, I absolutely do not have anything left to resolve. Please note that this is not merely empty words or a repeated mantra, but it must be a real inner gesture, a complete laying down of the weapons of the will. You are actively declaring a short holiday for all your efforts and all your intentions. Imagine you are putting the entire plan of life, all worries and even unanswered questions of today into a box, and placing it outside the bedroom door. You are not at all escaping or rejecting life. You are just practicing a high-level biological wisdom, which is allowing yourself to be absent so life can renew itself. This is the way that Zen masters, since ancient times, have protected the golden moment before sleep, to allow the body to be healed in the most miraculous way. When you truly imbue the notion that tonight you have no work left to do and no one left to become, You will notice a staggering change taking place in every muscle fiber. A feeling of lightness, like just shedding 1,000 pounds of burden, will spread from the top of the head down to the heels. Your breath will become deeper and more free than ever, because it no longer has to carry the weight of the anxious ego. The secret of recovery does not lie in what you try to do more, but lies in your very ability to dare to let go of control and trustingly entrust yourself to the quiet night. When today truly stops inside you, then that is also when the dawn of healing begins to flicker in every blood vessel and every cell of yours. Hello, friend of fateful connection. Let us touch the final threshold of letting go, which is the moment you accept to let your consciousness be completely dissolved. Deep sleep is actually a state where the ego is temporarily absent, the time when you are no longer a separate individual with your own stories and names. There is a rather ironic truth that people who have the strongest ability to control during the day, those who always want everything according to their own will, are the ones who often encounter the most difficulty in touching deep sleep. That is because the monitoring habit has soaked deep into the subconscious, making you, even when lying down still silently, want to witness the moment you sink into darkness. You want to know exactly when you sleep. You want to be the person making witness for your own rest. But dear friend, the light of awareness and the darkness of deep sleep can never coexist at one time. To truly be rested, you are forced to be courageous, to let yourself disappear temporarily. You must turn off the lamp of curiosity and the need to want to manage reality. Imagine sleep is like an extremely shy and delicate guest. That guest will never enter the house if the owner is still standing with eyes wide open at the threshold full of scrutiny. Only when that owner truly leaves, when the room of consciousness is completely without a person standing guard, then at that time, sleep can gently step forward and cover your entire soul with infinite peace. Tonight I invite you to give up even the right to be a witness for yourself. You do not need to know if you have slept yet, and also do not need to watch the healing process taking place. Allow yourself to fall into the zone of not knowing, an empty space where no definitions of the person you are remain, when there is no longer anyone standing there to monitor, and no longer anyone waiting for results. The boundary between you and the quiet night will completely vanish. And that is when the deepest healing is allowed to operate in the absolute freedom of the unconscious. Hello, friend of fateful connection. We have gone through the complete journey of exploring the secret of healing tonight. I want you to carry one final and most profound awareness before truly vanishing into sleep. We often mistakenly think that healing is something that one must effort to perform, a list of things to be completed, or a specific action to achieve results. But the ancient wisdom of the Buddha and the Masters always reminds us of a contrary truth, that healing is actually not an action, but a climate. You should imagine a forest after a storm. No one can use their hands to force each leaf to grow back or force sap to flow faster in the tree trunk. The wise forester only needs to create a quiet environment, clear away obstacles, and then the forest itself will revive itself according to an inherent sacred rhythm. Your body and soul are exactly like that. The deepest healing does not require you to do any more new things. It only asks you to keep less tension and interfere less in the natural flow of life. What we practiced in the past 3 minutes is actually not to repair the body, but to create a climate of complete letting go. It is the atmosphere of safety, where the nervous system no longer has to be alert. where the mind no longer has to be on duty, and where the ego accepts being absent to make room for self-recovery intelligence. When you stop disturbing yourself with cravings and strict monitoring, you will see your body begin to find its way back to the original balanced state in a miraculous way. The monastics of ancient times did not possess any supernatural magic to heal the flesh. Their biggest secret was simply that they stopped interrupting the natural process of the body. They did not heal the body with effort. They healed by protecting the moment of doing nothing at all. Tonight I invite you to do the same. Let today be ended without an answer. Let your role have the curtain lowered without applause. If the space of daily Dharma light brings you relief, I am very honored to continue accompanying you on the path of awakening. So one more good connection by leaving a confirmation with your consciousness in the comments that I allow my body to heal itself tonight. Wishing you a very peaceful and complete night in the arms of absolute letting go. Peace in mind and body. Goodbye, and see you again.